The White House had a press conference yesterday during which President Donald Trump identified pregnant women taking Tylenol as a cause of neurodevelopmental conditions like autism and ADHD. There's a few different problems with what he did. Multiple different people have been talking about that even since yesterday, on whether it be on television, in print, online. And I thought it would be a good idea to contribute some of my own thoughts to this conversation. First off, quick little, even just talk about statistics. The only studies I've been able to locate, I haven't the con- the study he used to justify this was a review of multiple different studies which identified a potential correlation between pregnant women taking Tylenol and having autistic or ADHD babies. Now, the reason that word potential is important is because if you look at statistics, positive correlation does not immediately mean causation. So if you see, yes, these two things happen at the same time all the time, there's a definite, it's definitely worth looking into, is one of these things causing the other. However, just because it's worth looking into doesn't mean one of those things is causing the other. So a big example that often gets used is ice cream sales go up in the summer, and so do violent crime rates. But it's pretty clear that the ice cream sales are not causing the violent crime increases. So those two things are correlated, but one does not cause the other. And that's just for a positive correlation. So, yep, this thing goes up, so does this thing goes down, so does this thing. These things are moving in similar cycles of up and down, but they're not causing each other. They're just kind of independently, or they're both being caused by the same thing. However, even that is for positive correlation. Like I said, potential correlation means these two things happen at the same time a lot. More research is worth conducting to see, are these things happening at the same time? All the time. Does it happen at the same time often enough to warrant looking into whether one of these is causing the other one? So, potential correlation tells you these two things happen at the same time a lot and could be going up when the other one goes down, going up when the other one goes up, and going down when the other one goes down. There's also negative correlation, which is just this one goes up when this one goes down. So a better word to use would have been a definite correlation, not a positive correlation. So that's a statistical problem and a math issue right there with what he said, as far as you can't say there's a potential correlation and then use that to conclude, yep, this thing causes this other thing. That's not something you can do, even just mathematically. Second, next, some of the other issues, various experts interviewed by the New York Times and other places, other news outlets, reputable outlets have talked about, okay, yeah, so some of these studies have found a potential correlation. None of them have claimed causation. None of them have gone there. So if the researchers aren't going there, don't go there. And yeah, there's been far more studies identifying strong genetic components to neurodevelopmental conditions. And even just to use myself as an example, don't take me as emblematic of the population. When my mother was pregnant with me, she actually avoided Tylenol. She had heard some things about health complications for the baby. So she avoided taking Tylenol while she was pregnant with me, and I was actually an unmedicated birth, which sounds like a nightmare and incredibly painful. But yeah, I was an unmedicated birth. I'm on the spectrum. So, I mean, what's she supposed to do at this point? So Tylenol, at least in my case, definitely wasn't the cause because she didn't take it while she was pregnant with me. What I think may have contributed? My dad's genetics. I'm the only one in my family to have a diagnosis with autism. However, on my dad's side of the family, I've noticed trends of behavior going back a few generations of behaviors and personality traits, different tendencies that all fit the categories for autism. There's even like a history of some foot issues that can be symptomatic of the autism spectrum. Like I have flat feet and I trip over them all the time. That's a thing with autism, and it's a thing on my dad's side of the family. So I think what's probably the case is that it probably runs in the family, and I can't say that for sure because again, I'm the first one to get a diagnosis, and some of the people who I suspect to be autistic are deceased, so I can't like dig them up and get them diagnosed retroactively. So it looks like it possibly just ran in the family and I'm the first one to get diagnosed. Which, if you think about it, also makes sense because the diagnosis didn't exist until the middle of the 20th century, and they thought it was a form of schizophrenia. They were blaming mothers for not taking care of their kids properly, causing them to become withdrawn and quiet. So, our current understanding didn't really develop until the 1990s. And even since then, a lot has changed about the way we understand how it works. So when I was little, my mom thought I might be on the spectrum. But what she was told was, oh, she makes such good eye contact. Autism probably is not the case. Full stop. I had learned how to pretend to make eye contact. I look at people's noses or in between their eyes, but I have a hard time locking eyes with people. But I had figured out, okay, this is what's expected of me. So I would make myself make eye contact or I would pretend to make eye contact with people. And because of that, nobody thought I was autistic when I was a kid. I had to, in high school, be like, hey, so I found this article online talking about the symptoms of, at the time, Asperger's. And it's like someone got my whole personality and put it on the internet, so maybe that's just something we should look at. And yeah, I got a diagnosis, but I wouldn't have been diagnosed as a kid because I made such good eye contact. Or like, women used to almost never get diagnosed. It was understood more how it presented in men, but women have different symptoms and the symptoms manifest differently. So, like the eye contact thing, like women tend to realize this is what's expected of me and I don't understand it and I have a hard time with it, but I can at least fake it. So that masking piece in social situations is much more prevalent among women, which led to a lack of diagnoses until very recently. So of course the cases are going to go up. It's estimated now that at least 1 in 3 autistics is female. So that's a whole subset of this population that wasn't getting diagnosed until the past 15-20 years. I mean, certainly less than 20, because again, the diagnosis hasn't existed that long. And understanding different ways it manifests, even just person to person. You don't even have to bring male, female into it. I've got several friends who are male and on the spectrum, and they all manifest their symptoms differently. So, as our understanding of a thing increases, instances of diagnosis are going to go up, purely because we know what to look for, and it's getting identified in kids earlier and earlier. And then those kids are getting the help they need earlier and earlier. So, I mean, honestly, I think that's probably the biggest contributor to why cases have gone up, is just an increase in understanding. Because you look at history, and obviously we can't identify anyone positively, but go all the way back to ancient Greece, Aristotle. He hated the way Plato wrote. Plato takes a really long time, a lot of circuitous logic to finally get to his point. Aristotle hated that. I hate that too. Aristotle is a lot more, his logic is a lot more linear. He gets to the point much quicker because he didn't like how circular Plato was. He just wanted clarity, get to the point. Aristotle also basically invented classification of living things. Linnaeus invented the system we use today, but Aristotle, he drew shark embryos and tried his best at categorizing plants and animals in different ways. My brain likes to put things in boxes. I like to categorize. It's not proof positive that he was on the spectrum. We're never going to get that. But Leonardo da Vinci had a hard time interacting with people, was reputed to love animals so much he would buy them in the market just to set them free. So being more drawn to animals than people, having an easier time with them. He was a craftsman. He painted and sculpted, sometimes less often than painting. So there's people throughout history who display symptoms associated with the autism spectrum. It's just that we didn't know what it was until not even 100 years ago. So I think that it's much more likely that our understanding has simply grown. And that's why diagnoses are going up. And this applies to ADHD as well. Like anything like that, psychology as a field is very young. So of course there's advancements being made all the time. I mean, medicine is ancient, and there's advancements being made all the time. So yeah, in a discipline as young as psychology, our understanding's always growing at incredibly fast rates, whether it be neurodevelopmental conditions, mental illnesses, post-traumatic stress disorder. Our understanding of those is growing and developing all the time. And I think as our understanding of these conditions grows, diagnoses are going to go up. That applies to pretty much everything. So, unless something comes out that explicitly says, beyond a shadow of a doubt, and if you know anything about the scientific field, you know that's not going to happen, purely because of the nature of the discipline. We can't say we've proved anything in science. We have to be able to prove ourselves wrong. So but unless something comes out that says, okay, well, based on all of this evidence in all of these cases, over a period of several years, I mean, probably decades, just to make sure we get a complete picture. And yeah, there's a positive causation between Tylenol and ADHD and autism. You can't say that until there's been multiple studies that have all replicated that result. And right now, all you have is there might be a correlation here. So you can't say Tylenol is what's causing these conditions. And using that rhetoric is so harmful that I'm surprised anyone would. But they did. And they're wrong.